Hello, welcome back to the Ask Dr. Be Good show, the show where we bring positive things that are happening in public education. And one of the treats that we occasionally get is to bring in somebody from the outside to talk to us. And today we have Karen Vasquez O'Donnell, and she has surprised me with not only, it wasn't a surprise that she came, but it was a surprise that she brought her boys with her. And so we quickly asked if they would come in and join us in the podcast, because you all know that I like having kids in here. And so without wasting any more time, because of course 30 minutes in here feels like 5 minutes, Miss O'Donnell, would you introduce yourself, talk just a little bit about yourself, and then pass it on to the boys?
Hello, my name is Karen Vasquez O'Donnell. I'm an author and a mom to Thomas and Samuel, who are here with me, and we're very excited to be here with Dr. Good to share amazing news about our book.
Thank you for being here.
My name is Samuel James O'Donnell. I'm a part of the book. My name in the book is Pepe, and I like video games, drumming, sports, and other stuff.
How old are you?
9. I'm in 4th grade, and my favorite subject in math in the school is math and science.
Wow, nice.
Hello, my name is Thomas O'Donnell, and I'm 13. I go to TIVA, Texas Virtual Academy at Hallsville, same with Samuel. My favorite subject in school is science, and so my hobbies are I like playing the trumpet. I'd like to think that I have a good sense of music. I'd say I'm a good narrator. I'm also really good at video games. I like memes, you know.
Okay.
Just a generic.
You're just a 21st century guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to have you. So, Ms. O'Donnell, would you talk a little bit about your beginnings in El Salvador? Because you've come a long way.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me again. I'm very excited to be here. And I had a very adventurous childhood. I was able to climb trees and be within nature. And growing up, it was always an adventure, visiting my grandparents, both sets of grandparents. On my dad's side of the family, they lived in a more secluded area by the riverbank, no electricity, no running water, outdoor toilet. And on my mom's side of the family, even though we were in the same village, we lived closer to the highway, and they did have electricity, and that made a huge difference. So the day didn't end when the sun went down, and we got to play a little more. But it was always adventurous, and I learned so much just being within nature and being more grateful to be able to have running water, a toilet, because I often had to go fetch water at the river, wash clothes by hand at the river. So I learned so much, and it was filled with adventure and always dreaming about something.
Well, how did you wind up in Dallas, Texas?
Well, my parents migrated to the United States because things were very difficult due to a civil war in El Salvador at the time. So they migrated here, and they were here for 6 years, and they left my brother and I in the care of family members while they were able to get our visas. So my brother is only a year older than me, and we didn't see them for 6 years. So they came back, and we reunited, and that's when we got to meet our 2-year-old sister at the time.
Oh. Well, unfortunately, that's not an unusual story. I was a bilingual teacher in 1986, but in 1990, I got to Plano, and there was a girl from El Salvador who had walked up with a coyote by herself. She was 12.
Wow.
And now there were other people there, but her mother was already here. And so those were The 90s were tough times for El Salvador.
Very, very difficult time, but things are improving, and it's a beautiful country.
Have your boys been back with you?
Yes, they have, and we'll be going back soon also.
Wow.
We were just there this summer.
Good.
Yeah, that was a month, and now we're going back to celebrate, just being there all the way from December to February. So we're going to be on a 2-month vacation in El Salvador.
We're
Oh.
gonna celebrate Christmas there.
And finding out what it's like to have a Christmas in a different country.
Yeah.
Is that another book coming on maybe then?
This is a
Okay.
book series.
Yeah, there you go.
Teaser.
How'd you come up with this book series? The kids have sort of alerted us that they are named after the characters in the book. So let's talk about that.
Yes. So growing up in El Salvador, being filled with adventures in the village that I lived, I knew about 5 people who could drive. And out of those 5 people, they were male figures, father, grandfather figures. And out of those 5 people, maybe 3 of them actually owned a car. So I kind of skipped that dreaming phase of maybe wanting to drive a car and have a driver's license. What I always dreamed of was flying and traveling around the world. So when my parents gave me this opportunity, incredible opportunity to come to the United States and have the opportunity to have an education and prepare myself, that was always my goal, was to travel.
How old were you when you came here?
I was 13.
Okay.
Yes. So when I graduated as a physical therapist assistant, I began working and saving some money, and I was able to begin traveling. First back to El Salvador, where I've gotten to see it best as a visitor, as a tourist. And later on, along with my husband, we would take road trips. And we have been able to set foot in 40 of the 50 states.
So far.
So far, yes.
So what led to the actual thinking of putting all this in a book?
Well, one of our bucket list dreams was to do a cross-country trip from California to where we used to live, which was Pennsylvania. So with my husband's work, we happened to be 2 consecutive summers in California, Southern California, and then in San Francisco. So we got to visit different places. Later on, we were able to do the cross-country trip from California to Pennsylvania, and just learning so much and seeing so many things that I used to see in postcards when I was in El Salvador. So as we actually saw these things, not just in the movies, but and in postcards, and learning from them. And one of my favorite quotes is from Maya Angelou, who that says, "When you learn, teach. When you get, give." So I'm at that point in my life that I'm very blessed, and I felt I had all this information and I had to share it, especially for Thomas and Samuel.
So how did it evolve into a book that has to do with your sons and animals and so forth?
Because we actually took this trip as a family. It just started developing into having Thomas and Samuel be the main characters, and our dog Luna, because boys and their pets, and our first dog Zorro, which is now in heaven, doggy heaven, so he's watching over their adventures. And monarch butterflies signify somebody in our lives, a mentor, grandparent, or mother, father, who guides us, teachers.
So is there an excerpt in the book that you'd like to read to us?
Yes, we're going to read the beginning. So Pepe and Pako. Pepe and Pako, here's a few of their favorite things that they like. Meet Pepe and Pako, techie twin brothers who love to explore. These are a few of their favorite things. What are some of your favorite things? They love music, drawing, painting. Samuel, who is Pepe, loves to cook.
I like baking.
You like baking, good. After learning about the legendary Marco Polo adventures, Pepe and Pako became inspired to travel the world. They were thrilled to begin their adventures in their home country, the fascinating United States. Along with their parents, they are ready to embark on their family cross-country trip. Their trusty pet Luna is super excited. Always watching over them is their dog Zorro, and guiding them are beautiful monarch butterflies.
And then you have the wow facts. Talk a little bit about the wow facts.
So throughout the book, we want to feed our brain with amazing information. So there is wow fact, there's cool facts, and some of the wow facts that Pepe and Pako learned about Marco Polo are that he was a merchant and an adventurer. At 17 years old, in 1271, he traveled to Asia from Venice, Italy, with his father and uncle. And that adventure took them about 4 years just to reach China.
By horse, I guess.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So throughout the book, there's a lot of amazing facts that make you go, wow, cool, or that's crazy.
Did you write that for parents? Did you write it for teachers? Who's your audience?
My audience is children. However, if adults get a hold of it, they will also love it. I want parents to have as much fun reading it to their children and for them to be inspired to take family adventures.
And I guess that's what I was thinking when I asked the question is I was visualizing either a teacher holding it and reading it to her class or a parent reading it to his or her children. But I also, of course, would love the fact that kids would want to read it over and over to learn those facts. It's, one of the things we know in school is you have to usually absorb things several times before you remember it easily. So to talk about where do you go in the book?
Oh, there's many different places that we stopped in. Iconic places like the Golden Gate Bridge, Devil's Tower, which is the U.S. First National Monument, Mount Rushmore, Craters of the Moon in Idaho, which we just happened to. We didn't know it existed, but we were road tripping, and along the way, the landscape changed, and everything was black, and everything was lava around us. And it just so happens that millions of years ago, there have been eruptions.
Oh.
That area, there is a weak part of the Earth's crust that have developed into very deep cracks where lava has come out of.
I didn't know that. You said Idaho?
Yes.
Idaho.
Craters of the moon.
Volcanoes. No, right? I learned something today.
Yes, so Craters of the Moon in Idaho.
Wow. So are you Pako?
No,
No.
I'm Pepe.
You're Pepe and
I'm
you're Pako. All right, Pepe. Talk to me. Which is your favorite spot that you visited from the book?
One of my favorite spots was the museum where Sue the dinosaur was.
And what city and state is that?
Do you
Anybody
remember which
Chicago.
city and state?
Chicago?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yes,
sure.
it was Chicago. And we also stopped at Circus World. Here's Craters of the Moon. Here's Chicago.
There we go.
And who's your illustrationist, by the way?
Karen Light
How'd
did
you
an
find it?
amazing job through my publisher, Jackie Camacho Ruiz.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice job. So, Pako, what's your favorite place in the book?
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't have one.
Why?
Everywhere we go, every single place that Mom drags us to go to learn about something, to go on an adventure, to do something with our lives, it's amazing.
Didn't want to go, and now you don't want to leave? Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Okay. So, well, it's good to know, though, that you keep yourself open to that adventure. I mean, there's so much to learn in just the United States. Is there any chance of going overseas and continuing the series there?
Yes.
I know that Dad really wants to go to Ireland again.
I was just there this
Yes.
summer.
You did. It's amazing country. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. So this is paying homage to Pepe and Pako's home country. And the second book, my dream is that there will be a Pepe and Pako explore El Salvador.
Oh, okay. And can you sort of tell us a little bit about where you'll be visiting in El Salvador?
Well, El Salvador is also known as the land of the volcanoes, and we also have Mayan roots and Mayan ruins. So we would be visiting, we have beautiful beaches, and we also have beautiful lakes. So we would be visiting many different areas that are historic, rich in culture, to be able to share that with the world, and continue on with Pepe and Pako exploring the seventh wonders of the world, or many other countries.
So I understood that your kids have online school, which frees them up to travel with you. What do you guys get out of traveling instead of being in a school building every day?
I've once heard somebody said, I don't know exactly who they are or what they're known for, but I once heard somebody say that you get more from traveling than from sitting boxed up in a room with some adult figure telling you stuff.
If that adult is not doing the job correctly, then you'd be absolutely right. How
Right.
about-
Online school gives you the perk of traveling because actually for the Chicago book launch, we were in Chicago and we would be in the hotel room doing all of our required assignments, going to our classes and stuff.
And how we do our classes is there's different times next to links, and the links tell you what classes. Like it says on the left, there it says 1:30 math class, and then you click on it. The thing is, you can get in 15 minutes earlier before it starts.
So you can have a little chat with your fellow classmates who get in early. It's essentially an educational live stream.
Okay.
And
Well, you guys are very well spoken, so obviously it's a good platform for you, and you're able to travel and be privy to things like book openings. Talk a little bit about that.
Right.
Yes, the book opening that we had, and we get to visit schools.
So you visited schools in Illinois?
Oh yeah, we did. We went to that one high school, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was a high school? Okay.
And what happened there?
Well, we walked around. We met a bunch of people. We toured around the school. We held little miniature lotteries for one of the books that Mom was in, the Today's Inspired Latina, and the Pepe and Pako book.
passed out raffle tickets, and there's Pepe and Pako bookmarks. We passed those out, and then was it 6 or 3 people that won a book?
6 people.
Yes, 6 people total. So they're great helpers. So it's giving them that opportunity to get in front of a group of people without being afraid, and they help me a lot. If we give away books, and
Well, I just think that's fantastic to have this be a family affair where the kids are intimately involved because the characters are named after them, and then they're also sort of doing the logistical part in the back. It's like a traveling family band show or something, right?
Right.
I am
Because
very proud of them.
if there's anything better than doing, because you have to do some things alone, and then sometimes you get to do things with your friends. But if there's anything better than doing anything with your friends, is doing stuff with your family and your friends.
There you go.
Loved ones combined are a fantastical force of endless possibilities.
Well said. So your mom has talked about her next book. You guys have any books in you that you're thinking about writing or wanting to write?
Wanting to write? No, but I am definitely open to helping Mom create the El Salvador adventure one, because one place that I personally am very interested to go back and see. So while we were there for the first month, we climbed a dormant volcano. It was a great hike, great view. I mean, the first jungle area was kind of annoying with bugs and
Well, they have
plants.
those annoying things like bugs and
Right,
plants.
but once you get past that, it's probably an hour of pure amazement. There's clouds below you. You're climbing a very steep slope with plants, Birds are flying like 3 feet away from you. It's fantastic. You get a great view. And the top smells like salt and eggs.
The sulfur from
that's-
the volcano.
Sure, coming up.
Anybody who
don't-
likes breakfast will definitely like the top of that mountain.
Okay.
I don't really want to write a book, but a little fact in Pepe and Pako, every page has Zorro and the butterflies you can find.
Yeah.
It says that at the front of the book.
And family members are also featured in the book because their great-grandparents used to be circus performers.
Oh.
And so we stopped at Circus World. Their great-great-great-uncle used to be a tightrope performer with the Ringling Brothers Circus.
Wow. Interesting. Family fact.
Mhm.
Wow.
It says right here in red, it says keep a lookout for the butterflies in Zorro. The angel dog is Zorro, and they're on every page.
So they help a lot. We were deciding also whether Pepe and Pako, what age they should be. So they have a lot of input.
So when you first wrote the book, what were your hopes as far as outcomes? Outcomes as far as how people were receiving the book or would receive the information?
Yes. So initially it was me leaving a gift for Thomas and Samuel. But later on, as this evolves, because it's such a journey, you start discovering the possibilities. And it gives me, and one of my favorite things to do is to visit classrooms, because I get to tell them not just a story, but how it became about. Being this little disheveled little girl who was invisible for many years, but I dare to dream. Like I said, I skipped maybe wanting to drive a car, but I always wanted to discover the world and fly. And to this day, I look back and I can't believe that I'm an author. I can't believe that I get this opportunity to travel with my children. So just being able to share that and tell other children, visiting classroom is by far my favorite thing to do.
Why?
Just because I can relate. I'm in front of these children and I see their little eyes sparkle and I can be crazy and silly and they just love it. They love seeing an adult be able to get out of those norms and at the same time kind of learn in a fun way. That's what I love the most.
So you've seen your outcomes more than realized. I think you've probably gotten outcomes you weren't expecting?
Yes, because now what I want to do is take this book to very remote areas where children don't even have a book of their own. So to be able to share that, to be able to allow them to dream. Books are magical. Images are magical. So when you're a child and you may be having a difficult day or maybe sad, but if you have something that can spark that imagination, it can do wonders.
And even in the United States, even here in town, we have kids who don't have books at home.
Yes, yes.
So you're right. That's a goal for all of us to make sure that more books get home.
Yes.
What school experiences did you have in El Salvador?
So the schools were different there. Because of the amount of children and the schools were smaller, we have two different shifts, morning shift and afternoon. I always got to go in the afternoon because the morning shifts were for those children who lived farthest from the school. Since you had to walk to school, they didn't want the children walking later in the evening home. Some of them, including some of my cousins who lived farther, they lived farther away from the road, and they were in the forest. So,
Like how many miles would you say?
they walked approximately 2 to 3 miles. I walked about three-quarters of a mile. But it was interesting because we all had uniforms, and we all had to line up outside, and we had a bell. You lined up, and the principal would walk around to make sure that even though you had humble beginnings and you didn't have much, even at school they would teach you how to present yourself, taking care of yourself it's very important. So they would teach you to make sure our shirts were tucked in, if we had the shoes and socks were folded properly. So there's a lot of different things that you learned that were essential for like everyday life.
And is school still like that in El Salvador today?
Yes, yes, it is.
Because when you think about the change, you've gone from a pretty traditional setting, and here your boys are doing online school, so
Yes.
they can travel, and yet in El Salvador, things sound like they haven't changed.
Yes, some things haven't. Technology has brought, has unified the world more, so the information gets there. So in rural areas, it is very much how I grew up. But the opportunity that they have, this is their very first year, and one of the reasons we did it. It was scary decision to make, to have them do online school, but then my husband and I are true believers that any type of experience is a learning experience. So as scary as it was, we were learning a lot.
¿Y los niños hablan español?
Poquito.
Sí, poquito.
Poco.
So I'm sure during your sojourn at Christmas that you will be able to learn more Spanish.
And that's what Mom hopes every single time we go there.
Yes, we're making more of an effort. Conversational Spanish is what they lack.
Yeah, Thomas, el que sabe dos idiomas vale por dos.
Okay.
Es muy
Okay?
importante.
Every job I've ever gotten practically is because I speak Spanish. So it's really, really important that you value, not only because it's your heritage language, but because kids who are bilingual tend to be able to get jobs over people who aren't bilingual. And so that's one of the things that we have at Legacy is we teach English, Spanish, and Chinese in kinder through 6th grade. So really paying attention and taking risks as a child because your brain is more apt to absorb the language than when you're older. And, you know, I tried to get my kids to learn. My boys fought me, and of course they're 35 and 33 today, and they really wish that I had done more to help them speak Spanish and speak the language. So,
Yeah,
So-
Mom always says, "You're gonna thank me
Yeah.
when you're older."
yes, yes. Mine can't think because they just, and so try to make an effort. It's that important.
Yes. You know what? One ironic thing is, I came to the United States when I was 13, and now I'm taking them back when he is 13, and that was unplanned. But they are great children, and they're at that stage where they can just absorb it.
So did you speak English when you got here?
No.
See? And yet you speak with maybe a trace occasionally of accent, and they can do the same.
Yes.
So, what action? What's next for you all? I heard going to El Salvador for Christmas. I heard the possibility of a book. What kind of timeline are you giving us?
Well, so this one just got released and is being translated into Spanish, and the plans are to release it in El Salvador in January.
Oh, nice.
But I also have started another book. This one is a small chapter book for ages 8 to 12 called My Friend the Mango Tree, Little Nuggets of Wisdom, that has small chapters about just my upbringing in El Salvador and what I've learned to create awareness, such as sanitation, having to fetch water from the river, caring and living amongst nature. So
Oh, neat.
that's the next book, and I hope to be released by the end of next year.
Okay. Well, you know, we've already come towards the end of our time. And one of the things that we have as part of the show, because this is the Ask Dr. Be Good show, anybody have a question for me?
So, what inspired you to learn Spanish?
Well, I didn't have to be inspired. My father dragged us down there to Argentina when I was 3 and my sister was 2, and then my brothers were born there. My father was a banker, international division, and so we lived 3 years in Argentina, 4 years in Mexico City, which I'm revisiting at Christmas. I will be in Mexico City with my father and my granddaughter, my husband, and I haven't been back in 40 years. Wow. And then Bolivia for 2 years, and then we went to Hong Kong and Singapore. And so I was very fortunate to have had a global upbringing, so I really am happy for you, and your parents' instincts in dragging you along are good ones, because you will be changed by the experience. I know I was changed by having been able to meet people from other parts of the world, to travel. I've got 2 continents left, and
Wow.
Australia and the Antarctica. So,
I plan on being an Antarctic expeditionist.
well, good. Hurry up before it melts. But Antarctica is not as hard to get to. I have a neighbor who's retired, and she's in her 70s, and she's going to go visit at Christmas. That's their warmest time.
Wow.
So it's pretty approachable now to go there. But thank you for asking that.
Okay.
And maybe we, when you have your next book, we'll have you back, because you will have had a lot more adventures by then.
Great.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Especially when we go back. It's always another sort of mini adventure, I classify it as, is visiting her great-grandfather.
My grandfather.
Just normal grandfather.
Your
Our great-grandfather.
Your great-grandfather.
Papa Tomas, we call him. Like a 95, 96-year-old man. He's really cool to hang around with, because when we were there, we went to basically the local jungle.
The local jungle.
Otherwise-
Okay.
His
Otherwise,
backyard.
basically. And it was really cool, because so he told me to get on my dad's back, and then Samuel to get on my back, and like doing it against a palm tree, and then we had to get coconuts. Then he took like a foot-long machete and just cut it.
So here, I want to give you homework, Thomas.
Oh,
I want
I-
to give you homework.
I don't like homework.
Me neither.
Well, I think you'll like this homework. I
Okay.
think that you guys should, if you're not already keeping a journal about your adventures, but you need to interview your great-grandfather. You need to do some serious interviewing about his life experiences, because I think they will blow you away. I think he has lived through things that,
A lot of things.
yes, that you need to write down and make sure everybody in the family keeps, okay? So that's your
Okay.
homework. All right, well, we have run out of time, and thank you again for coming on, and we will see you next time.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for having us.
When the next time
Thank
comes,
you for tuning in to the Ask Dr. Be Good show. For more information on Legacy Preparatory Charter Schools, visit our website, legacypca.com, or call 469-249-1099. And remember to like us on Facebook, where we stream live weekly Tuesdays at 3 p.m.